Hey friends, welcome to Dishing on Divorce Next Chapter on WGSN-DB, Going Solo Network Radio, Podcasts, and TV. I'm your host, Lisa Lisser, CEO and founder of LZL Coaching, a boutique coaching firm focused on divorce, relationships, and life transitions. I'm also a divorced mom of 3 now grown kids, a recovering lawyer, a current educator and spiritual counselor, and a divorce coach who is committed to transforming the divorce experience for everyone involved. When you're transitioning from a married to an unmarried person, you'll undoubtedly have a mix of emotions. Though you have new opportunities, you may also find new obstacles and new challenges. This is truly a both and moment for you. Fear and excitement at the same time, trepidation and anticipation. It's a time for new beginnings and new promises to yourself. But you may not know how to launch or how to reframe your life goals. Maybe now you're shifting in a job or leveling up to a different job. And here we are at a point at the beginning of the year. So let's talk about it. And my guests, Jennifer Zondlo and Daneris Silverio, are experts in leveling up not only your leadership, but your leadership of your life and your profession, and rebranding who you are and how you hold yourself out in the world. So welcome, Jen and Daneris.
Thank you. We're so happy to be here. Thanks.
Yes, thank you for inviting us.
Oh, it's such a pleasure. I love bringing on guests who offer unique skills and services for women and men redesigning their lives and launching into their next chapter. So I want to share with everyone that I met Jen and Dee, as Daneris is known, through a local networking group that I think is the most special and unique because everyone in the group wants to lift each other up and support them. So when I was launching my business, LZL Coaching, both Jen and Daneris supported me, and they continue to support me as I upgrade my business model and refine how I hold myself out in the world. So let me tell you who they are. Jen is the founder of Leveling Up Leadership. She specializes in coaching CEOs, business owners, and executives to realize their full potential by strengthening accountability, leadership, communication, and team development. With years of experience coaching leaders across industries and a background in psychology and counseling, Jen brings a fresh outside perspective to help her clients identify blind spots and craft actionable strategies that drive sustainability and profitable growth. So that's so in line with everything that we talk about on this podcast and how I work in the world with my coaching clients. So now I'm going to tell a little bit about Daneris, and then we'll get moving. So Daneris is the founder of Siempre Silver Lining, a brand design studio based in West Orange, New Jersey. She has a background as a defense engineer, and she combines her passion for art and engineering to reverse engineer brands, implementing systematic strategies that help businesses attract and retain clients. Her services include brand identity development, converting web design, and tailoring memberships that support the businesses she serves at every phase of their development. So, with all that being said, let's talk. So, let's go. So, Jen and Dee, though you don't specialize in divorce, you do specialize in helping people transform themselves. So, tell me a little bit about what you do and how you got started. So, Jen, would you like to start?
Absolutely. Yes. So what I do as a leadership and business coach is I help small service-based business with their leads, their sales, their systems. And I got started about over 3 years ago, specifically in coaching and consulting businesses. And it's just been an extraordinary road of meeting and connecting with like-minded people and helping them navigate the interesting journey of entrepreneurship. because I feel it has its differences from my previous line of work in counseling and working a 9 to 5. There are some similarities in terms of helping people, but I do that on a one-on-one basis, a group coaching basis, as well as a mastermind and/or training and development. And I've seen some major transformations. And this is all about leveling up your life in 2025. And you know what? For myself to help others be able to do that, I need to also level up my own life. I believe you need to pour into your own cup before you can pour into others. And that's a little bit about me.
Great. Thank you so much. And I love that. You need to fill up your own cup before you can pour into others. That is a great metaphor and image for what it means to really level up. So Daneris, tell us a little bit about you and what you do.
Definitely. So as you mentioned, my background's in engineering. So I've done that for most of my life, for quite some time now. And I started my business at least like a little over 2 years now. And I focused on, be able to help businesses gain their traction with, attracting their ideal clients. Through enhancing their websites, enhancing their logos, enhancing their brand. Because a lot of the times right now we live in such a fast-paced world that we just need to capture the attention of our ideal clients for those 5-10 seconds. And that's what I love doing, to be able to help businesses to do that, online. That's one thing that I enjoy the most. Yeah.
Oh, that's incredible. So what I heard you both say is it's about attraction, right? Mm-hmm. Like, how do we transform ourselves into the person or the brand or the product? I don't want to say product, but like the persona that we want to present in the world so that we can support people outside of us. Mm-hmm. And this idea of attraction, I think, is a great theme, because especially when we're looking at Divorce, the Next Chapter, we don't know if we're attractive or not, and in so many different ways. And it's so hard to reframe our image of ourselves so that our inside, where we know we have the jewel, but we don't necessarily know how to reflect that out. Mm-hmm. So Jen, if you could share, like, how do you work on this concept, this theory of attraction, to support your clients in supporting themselves?
That's a great question. I'm going to give you 3 things. These are my top 3: affirmations, reading, and working out. This is what changes the game altogether. I'm going to drop a couple nuggets for you. So if anyone is listening, you're going to want to take notes. So one is the billionaire code. And in the billionaire code, it talks about going from 0 to 1 billion. I know that seems outrageous, but it all starts in the beginning. And one of the things that this gentleman talks about is he emphasizes the fact that every successful person takes time for self-care, takes time to figure out what that regimen looks like for them, whether it's meditation in the morning, whether it's going for a long walk, whether it's becoming like an avid runner like I did the past 4 or 5 months. It's like transformed my life, to be honest. Or whatever it looks like for you, you've got to move. That's the whole point, is movement will get your brain, the juices flowing, and help to reignite all the wonderful things that are inside of you. And then next is reading. It's continuing to cement those things into your brain. It's reminding you what you've been made for, and it's helping you to listen to stories and also share stories of encouragement. And then last but not least, but I think is the most important thing, it's what you tell yourself. What you say to yourself when you wake up in the morning from what you say when you fall asleep. Mm-hmm. And I got this nugget from Ashley, Dr. Ashley. She's amazing in physical therapy, and she's in our networking group. And she said, you need to read this book, Jen. It's called Hiring the Heavens. Mm-hmm. It has, wow. You want to talk about redesigning your life? I'm in the process of redesigning again my life with this book, Hiring the Heavens. And essentially what it's about is just putting out there and saying, I'm going to hire the heavens for a guide to help me maybe get out of bed in the morning and get that first walk in, or get on the treadmill, whatever it looks like. I'm going to hire a guide to remind me of how great I am. I'm going to hire a guide to bring the right people into my life, because we're a magnet, right? You talk about that attraction. In this book, Hiring the Heavens, and I'm forgetting the author, but if you look it up, you're not going to regret reading it, or at least getting the Cliff Notes and applying these principles into your life. Thank you.
So what it sounds like is, Hiring the Heavens has a lot of manifestation in it, right? Like we're really looking outside of ourselves to get the energy that is bottled up inside of ourselves. But it's hard to hear the stories that that need to be released. And so hiring the heavens means, you give it to a higher power, but you need to articulate it. Right. And so by articulating it and taking notes and writing down, you are really doing big work to advance your, the laws of attraction, from like The Secret or whatever are the books that you read that really power you forward. But the purpose is not because it will magically appear for you. The purpose is that once you start telling that story, you believe the story, and the story can actually happen.
Yes.
And it's because you are taking steps, like you talked about action steps. It's like, unless you start taking the action steps, you're not going to manifest, you're not going to attract, you're not hiring the heavens, you are just waiting. And so your energy is so contagious, but your work is not about waiting, it's about doing.
That's right.
And that's next chapter work.
Yes.
Like the doing is the next chapter work. So Dee, I feel like I'm on the dating game, but same question.
That's good.
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, I totally agree with what Jen said. I'm actually waiting for her to finish the book, and then I'm gonna start reading the book, Hiring the Heavens. But just hearing like the little bits that she speaks about it, it's so true. It's like we have the power on our tongue to be able to speak our lives. But yes, just like you said, it's the action steps that we take that's definitely what's the make or break of those words that we speak. But yeah, and it's interesting. Jen and I were talking, and it's like we're kind of both. She's a business coach, I'm a designer, but we're kind of both in branding. She's more of the internal, and I'm more of the external. And I focus a lot on those external aspects when it comes to attracting, what we want in our lives, and for businesses too, the clients that they're looking for. So that's where my focus goes with that. But personally for me, when it comes to attracting the ideal clients that I want, the people that I want to work with, that, because who we work with is, who we like, who we trust, and those who we do business with. And I'm more about putting how do I say it? Putting what I want out there. So I am kind to others, so I expect kindness back. So I put that out, and I expect those who are, who will respect my time, who will, see the value that I can provide for their businesses.
So if I can just interrupt.
Yes.
But you're seeking people who will respect your time and the value that you provide. That's what you just shared. So I'm wondering if that's really about our clients giving them permission to respect their time, to respect themselves, to treat themselves with kindness, so that they then have the fuel, they've filled their cup, so they can deliver.
Exactly.
It's about, so the internal leveling up and the outside image are part of one dish. There are part, if I'm going to use dishing on divorce.
Yeah,
so
I love it.
Part of one dish that you can't have one without the other.
Exactly.
And they both feed each other and encourage and light up the different aspects. So, and I will share with our audience that when I was looking for a new upgrade of my website, I hired Daneris, and I was just going to go with like a simple new logo. But without my asking her, Daneris like asked me key pivotal questions about my purpose and my vision and what was important about my work. And she created and designed a logo that I hadn't actually asked for, but it blew me away. And I don't know if you could see it in the corner of the pop-up picture, but it's actually a picture of a phoenix rising, which really went to the underlying why of why I do this work, right? I want people to feel like they can be reborn. And, for me, I listen to that message even, and it brings chills.
Yeah.
But it's because Daneris really heard when I didn't even know what I was asking for.
That's good.
So this is about being open to listening to the universe as well.
Yeah.
That's sort of like one of my real takeaways from our relationship and why I thought you would be great guest for this podcast. So Dee, what did you hear or what do you look for when I know I had like a set of questions to answer, but so what do you think are the key questions that people need to ask themselves when they're trying to rebrand their own identity?
It's that's a good question. And I tend to ask my clients, it's more deeper questions, not just what kind of colors do you like, what kind of images do you like, but in reality, it's just who we truly are inside, who we are looking to surround ourselves with. What are your values? What's your non-negotiables? Like, what are you willing to give up?
Yeah.
Like, if it's I know for Jen, one of her non-negotiables is working out because that fuels her. So what are the things that fuel you at the core? What are you, at the end of the day, it's like, just who you want to surround yourself with. And for each of us, our ideal clients, our ideal friends are different. And so those are the things that we want to think about as far as who we want around us. Like, we want people that will fuel us as well. We want people that will help us think differently, expand our thinking in many ways. We want those that bring us joy. And those are the what we want to surround ourselves with. What kind of message about yourself as well you want to put out there. Speaking about confidence, if you're an individual that likes bold colors, I want to express that as well through the items that I create. Your boldness, your creativity, if you like nature, and all those aspects.
Right. So it's so interesting because those adjectives are adjectives that people don't always think about when they're thinking about themselves, especially when they're leaving a marriage and shifting and transitioning to a new identity. Boldness and creativity and curiosity. These are underlying values that are talents that people forget that they have. And so Jen, I want to shift it over to you, and we're going to have to take a break in a minute. So I'm going to start with the question, take a 30-second break, and then invite you to answer.
Sure.
So what are the key components in your coaching when you ask people those personal questions about their values and who they want to show up as? So let's think about that, and we will be back after a brief 30-second break. And we're back with Jen Zondlo and Daneris Silverio. So we had left with a question for Jen about what are the values that she lifts up in her clients and how she does that. So Jen.
One of the values in terms of owning your own business is having a vision for what you see and what you want to bring to life, right? We all have, I work with a variety of industries, photographers, lawyers, insurance brokers, designers, other coaches, right? And everyone has a different vision, but sometimes they just don't know quite how to bring that to life. And so I believe a value that I bring to that value of the visionary inside of each and every one of you is to ask specific questions to bring that vision to life. I hear things, right? Just like you, Lisa, you're a wonderful coach and facilitator, and you hear things and you bring those out, and we dive in deeper, and I ask more questions. I'm constantly asking questions. Tell me a little bit more about your team as an insurance broker. Tell me how you visualize them to be. What are some characteristics you're looking for? And she said it before, but it's those non-negotiables. Sometimes it's more about looking and knowing what you don't want versus what you do want. So we can get that out of the way and say, okay, this is definitely what I don't want. And this is what I've experienced over the past year or two with previous teams. Now let's talk about what you do want and really focus on that and bring that vision to life, and taking it another step forward and asking further questions. And a couple other values is knowing that there's accountability there. Right? 40% of business owners raise their hand and say, I want an accountability partner. I need someone in my life to help me see this process through, to help me see the next steps of implementation in my business that are going to get me one step further, get me to that next level, get me to that redesign, right? Who are we being accountable to? Whether it's in dating, marriage, or your business, or your 9-to-5, is there accountability somewhere in there where you're getting one step further, where you can feel good and rest your head on the pillow and say, I feel accomplished today. I feel like I got it done. I feel like I did what I needed to do. And then last but not least is communication. How are you communicating? How are you, putting yourself out there? How are you communicating with your team? How are you communicating with yourself? These are values, core values of being a visionary and communicating and accountability. This brings it all together to help you level up in your life.
So it's really phenomenal. Like your energy is contagious. But one thing that you shared twice, you used this word visionary.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that many of your clients come to you and they don't feel like visionaries. They don't think that that's a word that would define them. So how do you give them permission to reframe their own identity story so they know that they can be visionaries?
Well, number one, it takes time and it takes openness. You need to have that first and foremost. And it really comes from actively listening and then drawing upon what I'm hearing and saying, did you know what you just said? Did you hear that you actually can make that possible? Did you hear that you could actually change your offer? What I heard is you're not really doing what you want to be doing. You're doing what maybe someone told you, something you read in the book that you think was for you, but it's not. Actually, what's for you and what I'm hearing, because you said it, I didn't, right? Coaching is more about listening and just extracting those things that are already inside of all of us and just showing it back as a mirror and be like, this is what you said. This is who you are. And then bringing that together. And what that also creates is confidence. And I would say that's the number one thing when I finally help a client get to the point that, oh my God, I am a visionary. There is a vision in me. There is something I need to get out there. I'm not doing what I fully should be doing. That's why I'm not as happy, or that's why I need a coach to help me level up. Then they get to a point of, oh my God, this vision's coming to life. I'm seeing results. And what do results bring? They bring confidence. And it's just...
No, it's so, and confidence. So my mantra is I give my clients clarity, confidence, and courage. That is my goal. One of the things that I recently heard, I was listening to Mel Robbins, and she said that confidence is actually a practice.
Yes.
You actually have to practice being confident. You're not confident at the first try. It's like life is about what you practice. What you practice is who you are and who you're going to be in the world.
Yes.
So your devotion to asking questions, to drill down on what is my client practicing and what do they want to practice? What would they rather practice? And how can I share that insight that comes from them, but they just weren't listening?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
We can listen to our clients sometimes better than our clients listen to themselves.
Correct.
Right? You know, because we can hear the story that's underneath the story.
Yes.
You know, so I have so many questions that I want to go. And what questions do you like? You are the questioners. What questions do you have for me and my clients? Like, what do you think my clients need to know?
Here's something is what we need to keep asking ourselves, because we change so many times in our life. Like even our taste buds change every 7 years, I read. It's just wild. So it's just coming to the point of going for that walk, getting that movement in, and asking yourself during those moments where you take time for you and that self-care, what do I want? What does Jen really want? What does Lisa really want? And you keep asking until you get an answer back, because you will. What do I
Right,
want?
but you know, like if I can interrupt, I'm sorry, but so often I'm saying, so what do you really want? And my clients say, I don't know, you know, and I say, well, if you had to know, and we try to push them, right? Because sometimes we have a barrier to actually stepping out of our comfort zone. And I will share, which I'm sure you all agree, is that our comfort zones aren't comfortable.
Nope.
They're just familiar, right? Like we stay sometimes in a negative story or a negative situation or a negative work environment because we've been telling ourselves a story. I can't get out. I'm too old. I'm too young. I don't have the experience. I have too much experience. Like all of the excuses for not stepping out. And so how do you help your clients, both of you, find your way through the maze of excuses?
That's so good. I like to challenge people. Do the opposite. Do what's not normal or, status quo, so to speak. I mean, even if it comes to looking for a new job or a new opportunity, don't read what it says on there and say, oh, that's not me. I'm not that. I mean, unless it's really out there and you need 7 years of experience of software engineering or something like that, that's completely different. But if there's some things in there that resonate with you and you're like, I would really like to have this, I'd really like to participate in this career or this opportunity, go for it.
Yeah.
No one's telling you otherwise. Why? It's you. You're at the end of the day, you can have anything you want. And don't let anyone tell you otherwise. You've got it. It's in you. If you've got to peel those layers and the onions, as you're always telling your clients, you got to keep peeling them. You've got to challenge yourself. Hey, what's one thing I could do today to challenge myself? It could be something small, but what's one thing? Guess what? You're going to end up feeling better after that challenge.
Yeah.
No matter what that challenge is, just because you put it out there, it could be so small and minute. Give yourself a little challenge. And when you're completed with that, you're going to look back and be like, wow, if I could do that, then I could do this. And why not put myself out there? Why not apply for that position? Why not go out there and go out to that restaurant and go meet someone new and say hi? What's the worst they could say? Ignore you? Fine. That wasn't the friend you were supposed to meet or the person you were supposed to make friends with that evening. I personally like a good challenge, but that's me and that's my DNA, right? But that might not be it for everybody else. Maybe it's just taking a moment and saying, well, what do I really like about me? What really stands out about me? And that's important to just sit with that and be like, I like that about me. That's something good.
Right. That's powerful. And you shared something else earlier. You used the word patience. So it may sound like what we are encouraging people is to start the race and run the marathon. But really what we're saying is you just have to start the race.
Yes.
Right? It's just, and it's not have to, it's I get to start this race. I get to take that one step to do that small challenge. James Clear in his book, Atomic Habits, talks about these tiny little shifts that we make and that each one levels up, right? Each one is a step toward the next. And as we practice these practices, these atomic habits, we grow in ways we couldn't have imagined. So Dee, how does that work in your creative process? Taking these little steps?
Yeah. So, it goes hand in hand, similar to what Jen was saying about, well, actually, you mentioned it about the transitions, moving along from one side to the other. And with that, it's with certain clients, I understand that they're used to what is normal and what is comfortable for them.
Mhm.
So I try to help them understand, are you comfortable with this type of transition? Are you comfortable me making, not necessarily going, 100% on the other extreme, but just little changes to what you currently see. And helping them understand that it's those transitions are what's going to help them, step outside of the comfort zone, because sometimes where we feel so comfortable, it's that blanket, that warm blanket that we wrap ourselves with. But just those small steps that we take that bring us outside of that comfort zone, that's where it transitions us to a better understanding. For the three of us, where the work that we do is pretty similar, that we help people be unstuck where they are and bring them out of that comfort zone. And I feel like that's where those little steps that we help them along with, like, each one just brings them out and
Yeah.
the
And
different.
brings them closer to what they're looking for,
Exactly.
even if they weren't able to articulate it. By asking deep questions, we get closer and closer to the answers that may have been eluding us,
Mm-hmm.
right? And we might not even know that we were looking for those answers because we haven't asked the questions yet. And that's also, it's comfortable not to ask big questions,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's like putting on a warm blanket. Like,
Mhm.
I just want to bury my head under the covers, but I need to step out of bed
Mm-hmm.
and I need to take that first step.
Yes.
Correct.
I had a teacher once, one of my spiritual counseling teachers, and she said, you may be able to rationalize not doing this, but you start your day on the right foot if you just make your bed.
Yeah.
It's like sacred housekeeping.
Yeah.
That was the name of her book.
Yeah.
But making your bed creates a space of calm and peace that you not only leave in the morning, but you return to in the evening. And it's that first step.
Yeah.
It might be, maybe you're the person who never has done that, but if you take one day and just start by making your bed, that could be the habit that shifts the rest of your day.
It's true.
And it's really about putting something in order. And if I can put my bed in order, what else can I put in order?
Mm-hmm.
And maybe it means you use different sheets, or maybe it means you put different pillows on. But putting your bed in order doesn't mean doing the same old, same old. It can mean being creative and being curious. And what new step can I take today that's going to move me a little bit forward?
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to go all the way.
Right.
So that's really powerful. So we're getting close to the end, but I want to talk about teams because you're here today. You're the first team of coaches, really. I mean, I interviewed a group of divorce coaches a while back, but you're the team who's sort of launching people into their new journey. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, we know the saying, teamwork makes the dream work, and it really does. We work as a team through and through in everything that we do, but we also do it in business. And do you have something you want to share off the top of your head?
No,
Okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty amazing. I mean, not only are we together, we're also together in business. And, home team is number one. And you have to make sure everything is in alignment there. There's your team, which is alignment here and everything, checking in and making sure everything's there, but then checking in over here and communicating that everything is running smoothly, and communicating how we can make things better and how we could take things off of each other's plates. Because a lot of times, Daneris and I, we work as a team together to help our clients thrive. A lot of times people will come to her and say, "Oh, do you know anyone who could help with this?" And you're like, you should talk to Jen. And then people come to me and ask about branding, or, she does an array of things just because she's just so creative at whatever she touches. To me, it turns to gold. And I'm like, what? How did you turn my social media post into that? And all it takes is just a little tweak, a little change, and she just brings it to life. And that's what she does for everybody. It's quite amazing. But sometimes, we'll work together on whether she finishes a website, but then I'll work on some of the back end systems to automate things for other businesses. And you can tell them, a little bit more what you shared with me earlier about what makes us different as a team.
Yeah, I mean, we've learned from other couples and other our previous mentors that we've spoken to and they've always said, don't be down on the same day. It's if one is down and one is going through some challenges, the ups and downs of business ownership, of life, the other one's job, the other one's role is to lift them up, remind them of what our goals are, remind them why we're doing what we're doing. And that's a great, back and forth that we've learned throughout time, to be able to be there for each other, understand each other, uplift each other. And definitely when it comes to business, we have our own specialty. We have our very own skill set. And I know that if there's something that I need Jen for, I'm going to go to her right away, because I know her skills. I know what she's good at. And I know if she's working on certain things and she needs my help, I know I'm going to be there for her. So it's like, that's the greatness, like the back and forth that we have with each other.
Yes.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And what I'm hearing is that you're grounded in your purpose. And you also recognize that there are some skill sets that you might not have that your partner does.
Mm-hmm.
And so my clients don't have partners, but I want them to recognize that they are allowed to ask for help.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You are allowed to seek support and to get support from people who have skills that you don't have.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And it is a practice learning how to ask.
Mm-hmm.
Our business is about asking questions, but part of that is modeling for our clients that they are also allowed to ask big questions, hard questions, deep questions.
Yes.
They can ask them of themselves. But finding the questions is more important than finding the answers.
Yes. Agreed.
Yeah. That's how you level it up.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Absolutely.
That's how you level it up. So before we go, please tell our guests how they can find you, how you know, and what they need to reach you. And yeah.
Absolutely. I'd like to quickly add something in place of me sharing that is look up the 6 types of working geniuses. So if you ever decide to work with a team, you'll know what your specific genius is. Mine is a quick starter. She is a finisher. Like, she will finish, make sure she sees the project through. And I just wanted to add that and put a little bow on that teamwork there. And also that if you own a business, that if you hire Dee or myself, for example, they become part of your team. They become part of your partners in helping you see whatever you want, your dreams coming to life, you redesigning it together. So find your team out there. Whether you have a business or not, you can. Find a group of people, and you can follow me on Instagram, Jen Zondlo, JenZondlo. That's my main place where you can find me. Thank you.
Great. And Dee?
And for me, it's you just find my website, my email there, but for my Instagram is Siempre Silverlining for Instagram. And yeah, I mean, I totally agree with what Jen just said, to be able to have that village that helps each and every one of us. It's always great to just ask the right, not even the right questions, just ask questions, whatever it is.
Just ask questions.
Yes.
And finding the right support network means that you're allowed to ask for help.
Yeah.
Yes.
And if you feel that's a vulnerability, it's actually your superpower.
It sure is.
Like, being able to ask for help is a superpower.
It sure
And
is.
so when my clients are moving into their next chapter after divorce, it is so important for them to remember that they are not alone,
Mhm.
that they don't have to be alone,
Mhm.
and they get to create a new identity. They
Yes.
get to create and rebrand themselves. And whether it's for a business or for life,
Mm.
you know, finding that thing. It could be exercise. It could be getting the blood flowing. I mean, that's what I hear. Like, our bodies are part of what fuels our souls. Of
Mm.
course, these are like holy vessels. So take care of that, and you take care of the rest of you.
That's right.
So it's all in a bow, right? But life, it doesn't come in bows, but there are different packages,
Yeah.
and we can put ourselves out in whatever package we want to be. And thank you, Mandy, for sharing such a wonderful message for us.
Mhm.
You are an outstanding coach as well.
You are.
And Mandy's going to be on next week
Ooh,
when we talk about upgrading and leveling up your diet and nutrition and health goals. So this is really exciting. So thank you, everybody. You can find me at lzl.coaching, lzlcoaching.com. Excuse me. Don't even remember my own website, but yes, I do. And we will see you on Tuesday for our next episode of Dishing on Divorce.